Welcome back to Elevation 44. It's your girl B. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back, family. So today I have a special video for you because this is big and I want you all to be paying attention to what is going on. And there are a lot of different things happening in the world and happening around us, and sometimes it feels like these things can just be happening randomly, but there's always an explanation for these things, right? So as above, so below. What's going on up there impacts us down here. And when I talk to you about what this big astrological, I don't want to call it a storm, it's not really a storm, but let's say this gathering of sorts is doing, it's gonna all make sense to you why certain things are happening, and then you're gonna start paying attention to the rest of it, how it's all unfolding, okay? So let's dive right in. And today we're going to be talking about the Uranus and North Node conjunction, okay? So this aspect, and when we talk about a conjunction, if you're new to astrology, a conjunction is just the two planets or two things are close to each other in terms of proximity or alignment. And when they're close together like that, they start to kind of merge their energies together to create different types of situations, okay? So this is what a conjunction means. Now, Uranus is a planet and the North Node is an actual point, okay? And we're gonna get into that. It's a point on the moon's orbit. So we're gonna talk about those. We're gonna break them down individually, and then we're gonna put everything together. Let's get into Uranus, all right? Let's talk about it. Let's break it down step by step, what this Uranus and North Node conjunction means in totality. Has to be picked apart individually for it all to make sense, okay? Now, this is one of the biggest aspects happening this year. And this conjunction, we're already feeling it. We've been feeling it because it kind of started around May, okay? May of this year, of 2022. And we're gonna start to feel this as it gets closer and in more intensity as it gets closer to its exact conjunction, which means they're going to be exactly aligned at the same degree at the end of July, okay? So we're going to feel the intensity pick up, and we're going to feel the effects of this all throughout the rest of the year through the end of 2022. So I definitely want to put that out there so you don't think that this is just kind of like happening in a very like short time frame and then that's it, it's done. No. And the effects that is going to come out of this are going to be long lasting, okay? So let's talk about Uranus, right? Uranus, the planet Uranus, is called the Great Awakener. And I'm looking down at my notes because I don't want to miss anything because there's just like so much I wanted to cover, and I was like, I gotta make it precise, all right? So Uranus is a planet that takes about 7 years to go through one particular zodiac sign, okay? And it's called the Great Awakener because it brings in awakening, change. It's synonymous with changes, but unexpected changes, okay? It's just like, whoosh, it comes in, and then by the time it blows away, you're like, nothing looks like it did before it came in. That's Uranus's energy, okay? So like I said, it takes 7 years to go through a sign, and it brings generational impact, okay? So this is more about a collective impact. Yes, these things affect us individually, but this is really about like a collective energy that we have going on here. These are collective movements and shifts. Like, this is humanity, okay? So like I said, it brings rapid and unexpected changes, and it really pushes us towards future things, okay? So it's very futuristic. It's all things technology, cosmic insights and downloads. You know, it brings a lot in terms of like advancement because you get these genius ideas to solutions and different things like that, okay? It also is a revolutionary because it is very, very tied to the whole act of freedom. Now, what does it mean when Uranus is in the sign of Taurus, where it is right now and where this conjunction is happening, okay? Now, Uranus has been in Taurus since 2018, will be there until 2026. Now, Taurus is our material world. It is our physical environment. So everything physical, think about it, in the earth, like our resources, our values, our economy, stuff like that, okay? Then when it's in Taurus, we talk about how Uranus is about bringing change. Taurus is about the material or the physical world. So when you put those two together, Uranus and Taurus brings changes in those particular areas, okay? So we have changes with our, food, our water, our land. We've seen things play out with like housing and how that's gotten tricky, food issues around the world and scarcity there. So it can bring major fluctuations to these areas. Oil, we see what's going on with fuel. There's just a lot going on here, right? Our money, the stock market, digital currency, all of this stuff is affected. And our value system is changing under this, like an old value system and the things that we collectively have placed value in changes and phases out, and something, new comes in, or it gets just changed up in a different way, okay? Rebellion. There's a lot of protesting and just, again, there's this push towards freedom. So a lot of rebellion or, revolutionary type of acts in order to push us into a place of more independence instead of being controlled. Also, there's a lot of fluctuations, like I mentioned, between like our resources going into modes of scarcity and abundance. We're going to see the stock market and we can see that with crypto. Crypto's been high and then it's been low and then the stocks are high and then, so there's going to be a lot of fluctuations while Uranus is moving through Taurus in terms of all of these things, because Uranus is just unpredictable, and that's why it can be very unsettling to a lot of people. Now, let's talk about the North Node, because this is the second component that you really need to understand in order to get this whole conjunction energy, okay? Okay, so let's talk about the North Node now, because the North Node is the second component of like this entire formula, so you can understand what is happening and what's about to happen and how it's all about to unfold, okay? So the North Node is not a planet. Like I mentioned earlier, it is a point. It is a point in the moon's orbit that when the moon is, orbiting around the earth, there's a specific fixed point in which the moon's orbit is also calculated when it meets the Earth's orbit around the sun. So this is that particular mathematical point. Now, this North Node in astrology represents destiny. It's our karmic destiny. Some people like to call it fate. Some people like to call it our purpose. It is our future. It is what we are supposed to be learning or headed towards or embodying. This is what we came to learn. Now, with the North Node in the sign of Taurus, right? Which it entered in January of 2022, so this year, and then it doesn't exit until July of 2023. So it usually does about 18 months in a particular sign. So when it's in Taurus, what this is really signifying is that we're moving out of this whole era of this top-down power and control, gotta lock down this group of people with just this small percentage of people running everything and keeping everything in check, okay? So we're moving more into, or moving towards, as a society where we want more sustainability but more independence, okay? So there's a push also with this energy for us to be in a place where we're seeking true security. So the things that make sense to us, things that are practical, the financial and the economical value changes of the collective of, humanity, of the society. So how we value work and the way we work changes under this, okay? And you can see this kind of playing out a little bit here in terms of how things have been going just even before this whole conjunction came together, even just as the great conjunction happened with Saturn and Pluto back in 2020 and everything that's been unfolding since then, okay? But this is definitely playing out with this North Node in Taurus. There's also a reconnection to Earth, a reconnection to nature. So there's a lot of environmental and agricultural changes that are pushing us towards the future, okay? So that is pushing us into a place of progression. There is a emphasis on self-care, self-nurturing, slowing down and really enjoying and savoring the simplicity of life. Sometimes we're going back to the basics in order to feel that sense, tying it back to that sense of true security. What are the things that matter? What's practical, right? And then also with the North Node here in Taurus, it's about dealing with things that have been hidden or suppressed for a long time, that are coming up to the surface, and now we're seeing it and we're being forced collectively to deal with it, and you know what I'm saying, and address it and move forward, okay? So with that said, we understand Uranus, right? I broke all that down. You know what it means when Uranus is in Taurus. Now you know what the North Node is. You know what the North Node is. It's like in Taurus. Like, what happens when we're blending these two energies together? Or shall I say these three energies together? Because guess who's here with Uranus and the North Node? Mars. Our buddy Mars is there. And if you're not new to this channel, you already know what I talk about. Mars, I talk about Mars being what? The gasoline that sparks the fire. Mars is energy. Mars is action. Mars is all about taking action, okay? So initiation, energy, action. Just think about that when you think about Mars. So Mars in Taurus, right? Because they're all meeting up in the sign of Taurus, is very determined. It's got its mind fixed on something. It's going to make it happen. Again, it's about initiation. It's about action, taking action on things. So when these three are all combined up in the sign of Taurus, what does this mean? They're all conjunct. Expect big changes. They're coming out of nowhere. They're going out of nowhere. They're coming in. They're going out. You're not even seeing them coming. You're like, when did that happen? How did this happen? You can't even keep up. And it's always unexpected. Expect to be uncomfortable, because change is uncomfortable. Especially unexpected changes, right, are very uncomfortable. So Taurus is about stability. It really seeks stability. It really wants to have level, even ground, wants to know what's coming. And everything that's going on now in the sign of Taurus is unstable. So it is definitely going to be a time where people feel a little bit more anxious, feel a little bit more, you know, like just, wow, what's about to happen? I feel like, you know, so it's just really good to keep in mind this is what is lending its energy there, okay? So here are some of the changes that we can see with all three of these together, right? We've got social changes. Big social changes are in order. So there's a strong urge for the collective to be breaking free, a need to just have, again, that independence, that freedom. This brings a fighting spirit. So we're going to see a lot more things popping up of people like rebelling and saying, you know what, I'm tired of this. Like, enough is enough. We don't want this the way that it's been going. We don't want it anymore. That we're ready for something new. And if I have to burn the house down to get a point across so that you know, that's what I'm gonna do, okay? So expect to see a lot more of those types of incidents or things popping up, okay? So this could be the start of a revolution. Shift in power, big shifts, big changes in power and shifting power. The people who have abused power, who have been the ones driving the train but not driving it in the best way, expect to see them in the hot seat. Okay? Big environmental changes, okay? New technology in terms of advancing how we are doing this whole thing with the environment, how we're taking care of the environment, how we're doing everything on a day-to-day. So innovation in that way, changes to how we manage our resources, our earthly resources. So going back to land, housing, lumber, metals, water, air, agriculture, animals, everything like that. That is what we're going to be seeing a lot there. Big, big, big economic shifts, okay? Big economic shifts. Money fluctuations. Expect the money to be like an up and down roller coaster, and expect the shift in the way that we've been managing money, the way that we look at money, the way we value money. All of that is going to be just completely transforming, and you're seeing this already in process, okay? Also, the way that we define wealth, the shifting of our collective value system. What do we find valuable? What? Because we give things value. It's the people. We put our energy into things, and that's what gives us value. So where are we going to be shifting our energy? Pay close attention to that. And then reconnection to nature, just kind of getting more back in tune to being connected to the earth, being connected to nature, and really honoring that connection in that way and kind of in our daily lives, okay? Now, one thing to throw in here is that it's not just all of that in terms of changes. We also have some big tension, some big tension and some big limitations coming in the way of other aspects with this Uranus and North Node conjunction with Mars in the mix. Also, we have the square. So we have some tension with Saturn. Saturn is hanging out in the sign of Aquarius. We also have some tension with Mercury. Mercury is going to be hanging out in the sign of Leo at the time of this, okay? So let me tell you what Saturn, which represents restriction and limitations, and Mercury, which represents a communication, how they add kind of more complications to this whole thing. Because even though we're propelling towards the future, even though there's going to be progression, it's going to be a bumpy ride, okay? So here's how it's going to be. There's a lot of unsettling energy, especially with the tension between Saturn and Mercury here. There's going to be a showdown, okay? A showdown of sorts of those who are trying to keep things the same, remain in power, have the same old, versus those who want something different and are trying to push us towards the future, who want change. So there's going to be a showdown of sorts, and the ones who have been holding on to power and the old way of doing things for dear life are going to put up a hell of a fight, okay? And you're going to see this play out, all right? So frustration is going to be at an all-time high because unexpected restrictions and limitations are going to come in and be placed upon the collective in order to, again, maintain or hold on to that power and control that has been in play for so long. So, imposing, restrictions and limitations on people's freedoms and different things like that. And they're going to pop up out of nowhere. You're not even going to see them coming. You're going to be like, what? So there's going to be rising tension. Expect to see more like open hostility. Those who are staying stuck into the past and trying to hold on, again, they're going to be made to learn their karmic lessons during this time. So any karmic lessons that need to be learned are definitely going to be dealt out, and they're going to feel that. It's just not for you to concern yourself with, okay? You do what you're supposed to do. On a good note, we're gonna be more tuned in to exactly what our next steps should be in terms of if you're tapped into your intuition, where you should be headed. Like you'll feel more pulled or an alignment or a pull to exactly what needs to happen next, where you need to be going next. So you'll know exactly what's working and what's not, okay? So my advice for this energy is to not resist the change. Do not resist the change and not pour your energy into things that don't need your energy or call for your attention, okay? Don't get caught up in the emotional storms and different things that are gonna be happening because, there's going to be a lot of unexpected things and a lot of things popping up that you're just gonna be like, wow, okay? So don't let yourself get caught up in all of that. And intuitively tune in to what your next steps should be, all right? So here are some of the recent events that have happened that just are on my radar, and I'm sure there are tons more, but I'm just gonna name a few so that you can look into them and you can see what I'm saying. So this energy kind of started popping off in terms of this conjunction between Uranus and North Node around May, okay? So here are some of the recent events that have happened from May until now, okay? We have the Roe versus Wade. We have the explosion of the Georgia Guidestones. We have the assassination of Japan's former prime minister. We have CERN and the Hadron Collider. We have the stock market and crypto stuff, mass shootings, gun control legislation, and we have this huge thing with a global food crisis. And you're not hearing about it a lot here in America, but if you do your research on it, you will see stuff popping up everywhere that should be pretty alarming, okay? So like I said, this is big. Pay attention, keep your eyes open, stay informed, okay? And I will see you all in the next video. If you like this, again, give it a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe and join the family. Many more videos coming your way. See you all very, very soon. Peace.